What up, what up, what up, what up? It's me, L Teddy 27.
What's good tonight? Right about the hood.
Oh, dear God, I'm already eating a drink. Look, a damn mess. Just a damn mess. No means no, and yes means no. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's good, people? What is up? What's up? I am stoked. I am excited. What is up? It's me, L Teddy 27, and I'm back for the anticipated review for the season premiere of season 5 of Queen Sugar. This is season 1. Is this season 5, episode 1? I believe it's entitled Late February 2020. If not, you'll see the title somewhere around me. But I believe it's actually entitled Late February 2020. So we have been anticipating. We have waited. We could. Oh God, it's finally here. We're so glad it's here, and let's enjoy it and take advantage of it. So we start off with Nova. She's getting into her groove, her vibe, and Nova is playing her neo soul. She got her incense burning. She got some good sage going. She's offering up her prayers and meditations to the African gods that your girl Paula White tried so earnestly to conjure up back in the day with the whole election thing. But anyway, Nova is going through all of that, all the while cutting her dreads. And there's this cleansing, and purging that she's doing. And I think it's important that we see this cleansing and purging at the beginning of the season, at the start of this season. And hopefully it's supposed to be metaphoric to tell that there's this cleansing and purging of the old Nova that we liked at certain points, and at certain points we detested. And now this cleansing and purging should thrust her into another, give us another viewpoint, vantage point, and thrust her into another light for us as a viewer and for her as a character. So I'm interested to see where they take us with Nova. And I always know with season premieres, a good writer in a season premiere is another chance to almost have a pseudo exposition where you get reintroduced to characters, reintroduced to conflicts and character traits and so forth, or there could be a changing and evolving of certain traits that you've known within characters. So I'm excited to see what this means for Nova and her change. We then see Ralph Angel. He's at home sitting on a porch and he's reading a book, and I focused in on the fact that the book was about how to educate the gifted child, and so he is getting in tune with how to be there for Blue and how to be certain that he is getting edified the way that he should as a gifted child. And I think too often parents so often just leave it up to the schools and leave it up to the teachers to for the edification and educating of their child, not knowing that primary education starts with parent and starts at home, and is continued, I should say, proliferated at the school site. And with the instructors, those skills are then honed in and so forth there. So I love that Ralph Angel is interested in what it's going to take for him to truly reach, understand, and edify his son. I've always loved the relationship that Ava DuVernay has given us between Ralph Angel and his son. It breaks down and cuts into a lot of the stereotypes and myths that there are out there about Black fathers and their sons. So we see Blue comes out there. He does this whole thing where he's supposed to be emulating Darth Vader. So apparently he's started watching Star Wars series and so forth, and he's made breakfast for Ralph Angel and his mom Darla, who we find out is now living with Ralph Angel on the farm. And Darla wakes up, and Ralph Angel, while they were on the porch before they went in, Darla, he was like, "You ain't burn that toast again." And I just paid attention to that little part where Ralph Angel is, I don't want to say bad cop, but he's talking about how the toast is really burned. And when they get in there to Darla, and Darla eats the toast, and Blue's like, "I think I got the toast right this time," and it's clearly burnt. And Darla is lying and saying, "No, it's great, it's perfect," and she eats it knowing it's burnt. And Ralph Angel is looking like, remember, Ralph Angel had already told him, I smell like you burnt that toast." And so I love this yin and yang, this duality here with how Ralph Angel deals with them versus how Darla deals with Blue. And I love it. It's great. I love the intimacy between Ralph Angel and his son, the kissing the son, and the son kind of like not wanting because he's getting older. He was like, I'm your daddy, and I'm going to kiss you when I need to. And I love that whole relationship that they have there. We did see Aunt Vi and Hollywood. They're at the restaurant. They're making cakes for the Feast of St. Josephine that Charlie is putting on because they learned that the parish is named after a black woman, St. Josephine. And they're going to have this feast to celebrate her. And so they always give us on Queen Sugar this intimacy and this loving and doting relationship between Aunt Vi and Hollywood to show that I don't care what age you are, not that Hollywood is over, Aunt Vi is, you can still have an active and intimate and great sex life. And so they go, they go in the other room to have them a good quickie. I ain't mad at it. Go ahead, do what you do. Anyway, and that was before they was going to go meet Charlie. So then we see Charlie. She's at home. The news comes on, and they talk about the case, the sentencing of Frances Boudreaux that's about to happen, and that's where she's getting ready to go, along with other things that she has to do as city councilwoman. And then she calls Micah, and they have a conversation. And Micah hasn't been home in a couple months, and she's like, "Oh, you haven't been home." And he said, "Listen, I've been busy, Mama." We find out. Well, I immediately knew. If it wasn't clear to anybody else, when that young man rolled up to him and said, "Hey, we gotta go," I knew exactly what that "hey, we gotta go" was. He's pledging. And if nobody ain't seen you and you can't be home and you got all this going on, you're pledging. And she mentions, first of all, Charlie, I do think it's a little selfish because she even mentioned how had he gone to Harvard, she wouldn't have been able to just see him like that anyway. He wouldn't have been able to just come home nilly-willy at the drop of a dime like that anyway. She even mentioned that. And so now she has gotten this expectation in her head that he's going to drop everything and come home like that. And I don't think he should. If anything, I think he should have some separation between he and his mom to truly, have that college experience where you start to grow and develop and find yourself and you transition from being a child to adult and so forth. So I definitely think there certainly needs to be the separation. And I love the fact that he's pledging. I just, I wish that, and I know this is not the type of show, but I wish that there was they gave you little small, minuscule grain of sand on the beach of what pledging is, not even really unpacking it. I mean, if we're really being honest, he goes to an HBCU. I think he goes to Xavier. And at most HBCUs, you cannot pledge as a freshman. You can pledge after you have 30 credits. Now, we don't know that Michael doesn't already have 30 credits. Because as many know, a lot of highly intelligent high school students and well-off high school students intellectually do things like dual enrollment, AP courses, and so forth. And I've known many high school seniors to graduate with 30 credits under their belt by the time they step foot on the college campus. So I can't say that didn't happen for him. But at a PWI, and for most, and this appears to be a Black Greek letter organization that they're emulating on the show, for most Black Greek letter organizations, they do want you to at least have 12 credits before you start the pledging process. But for most HBCUs, they say 30. We then see Ralph Angel. We then see Charlie and the rest of the family. They meet up outside the courthouse for the sentencing. They go in, and this is the sentencing for Frances Boudreaux for the conspiracy with regard to burning of Charlie's meal. And we get caught up to speed. She's already been convicted. She's already been, charged. She's been convicted. And now we're at sentencing. And she gets up there talking about, "I am innocent of the charges that I've been accused of." And the judge said, "Hey, boo. Hey, whore. Hey, whore. The fuck are you talking about? Ain't no accused of, hey, boo. We've had a whole ass trial. There's been evidence presented. You have been convicted. There's no more accused, sweetheart. You did it." They ain't show her no. She said, "I'm just being nice to you by having this, having no cameras and stuff in here because of your standing in the community. But I don't have to give you nothing." She tried to get slick with Charlie. That judge cut her off. Hey, boo, you doing at least 7 years, okay? 7 years. Go ahead, lock her up, lock her ass up. That judge was here for all parts of Francis. Baby, she went in on Francis a little bit. Honey, your little money and influence cannot help you over here. I was here for it. I was here for all of it. You saw Parker in the background, and we learned Amira Van's character. Her name is Parker. We met her at the end of season 4, if you remember. That's what's the brother Boudreaux? That's his daughter that he kept away. I can't think of the brother Boudreaux. Francis's brother. What's the brother? The guy Boudreaux name. Anyway, that's his daughter. So Ralph Angel and Darla are at home, and Darla tells Ralph Angel, "Hey, he's watching this." She said, "Hey, listen, you need to put aside whatever differences you have with your sister Nova and go to her launch party." And he was like, "I'll think about it. I don't know." Because apparently he still has not truly forgiven Nova. He's still having issues really being in tune with her and wanting to be around her. And it's so funny because Darla seems to have gotten over her issues with Nova, whereas Ralph Angel is not so quick to do that. And I really feel like it centers mostly around how Nova treated Darla, or how Nova wrote about Darla and Blue, more so than how Nova wrote about Ralph Angel himself. And he's more concerned about that. That's what I took from that. He gets a package delivered that he has to sign for, and there's a letter in the package. In the letter, we later find out what it's about, but at this time we don't know. And whatever is in the letter makes him completely angry, very angry at the time, and so forth. And Darla senses that. We then go to Nova's launch party event that she has. There's a lot of people there. She's hobnobbing with people who she normally wouldn't entertain. She's starting a website for this blog or newspaper called True Papers, where she's wanting to expose some of the things going on just in her area and be true to it and have the freedom to express herself and tell the story like it really is and not be bogged down with what the newspaper honchos and administrators wanted her to do, like when she was with the newspaper before. And I can't remember the dude's name, but remember the dude with all the little dermals and piercings all over him? He was there, and he was there for the event, and he was like, "Yeah, I see you done moved on up out of the Ninth Ward, and you separating yourself from the rest of us lowly folk." And she was like, "No, I'm just moving forward. I ain't moved up, I moved forward." And she was like, "You have to embrace, I'm still there for you. I'm still in the fight with you, but I also have to move forward, and I have to reach a wider base and a wider audience." And so he seems open to it, but the thing about it is he has that relationship with Nova. I wonder if the rest of the people in the Ninth Ward will be as open to it as he was. Rod does end up coming. Ralph Angel does end up coming, and so forth. And she has the unveiling and she launches the website and whatnot. We see Nova's white boyfriend trying to ingratiate himself with the other black people in the room and stuff like that. And it did seem like he was putting on or trying. It did seem like he was trying hard to try to fit in with the black people, and I wasn't here for it. Y'all know I don't like White Boy Cop anyway. I never liked him going all the way back to season 1. I still don't like his ass now, and I'm not trying to like him, but whatever. I ain't never seen it for him. I don't see it for him now. We then see Charlie. She calls a city council meeting because what happened was at the end of Nova's party, Ralph Angel told Nova or showed Nova and Charlie the letter for the seizures of farms based on eminent domain, and so it started to spread on social media and stuff like that. And at the end of the scene at the launch party, you started to see like everybody at the party getting these alerts about people that had gotten these letters and so forth. And so Charlie calls a meeting in the middle of the night for the city council and to talk about this. And apparently that was the letter that Ralph Angel had gotten. So there was another black councilman there. I think he said Councilman Jackson or whatever. He's playing the blame games, saying, "Charlie, oh, you sold these people false dreams, false hope." And he's not here for it. He's here to play the blame game, and he's here to kowtow and step and fetch for whatever the white people want him to do. And so Ralph Angel stands up and says, "Listen, Charlie, I appreciate you trying to fight for us and do what you do, but everybody on the city council needs to be fighting for us, not just you." And what I noted about this scene with Ralph Angel was you saw Ralph Angel finding his voice. And I've talked about this in previous seasons about this show how Ralph Angel's always very tentative about his voice, and that's both um, tangibly, because Ralph Angel has this real soft, tentative intonation to his voice when you want him to put more bass in it, and even not just literally but figuratively, he was the same way. He was very tentative about speaking up and speaking how he really felt and speaking his truth. And sometimes in the past you would see it just only happen when it was just explosive, or he was extremely angry in the far reaches of the emotional experience, not being able to express himself in the in between of the extremes of these emotions. So I saw here, yes, he was upset, but there seemed to be this command about him. You could even hear in the tone and the intonation and the inflection and the inflection of his voice. He found, as you would say, he got that bass in his voice, and he seemed to find his own voice both literally and figuratively. And I was glad to see that, because that's something that we didn't see from him in the past. So we see growth in that regard. Nova, then we see her go over to Ralph Angel's house, and they immediately talk about what this means for their farm. And Ralph Angel still doesn't want any parts of Nova. He don't want no parts of her. Girl, I don't see it for you. We don't see it for each other. Why are you here, and why are you bothering me? And Nova reassures him, just like you have your reasons for wanting to make sure nothing happens to this farm, I also have my reasons for making sure that nothing happens for this farm. And we're in this together. I love you whether or not you, and I know you love me whether or not you're willing to say it at this point. And they share a nice moment with each other, but they could even put aside their differences to meet on the commonality of we both are here for the fight for this farm, for our family's land. She more so for the mom, he more so for the dad, and both of them collectively share that together. We then see we get back down to the courthouse in front of the judge that sentenced Francis Boudreaux, and you got Parker and another lawyer for that side for the group that's trying to do the highway, and then you have Charlie and Nova there, and the judge does present arguments trying to get a stay on the eminent domain seizures, and the judge does grant them a stay on it because Nova had introduced information about when this group did the same thing in Oklahoma and it caused cancer among widespread in that area. And so the judge was like, listen, yeah, I will put a stay on the seizures via eminent domain, and until they go and do a full environmental study on the impact it will have on the land and to the community. And also they must find alternative routes for the highway that does not include the borderline farm and that also limits the amount of impact it has to all of the farms in St. Joseph. So that was another win for Charlie, and Parker paid attention to that. And so Parker, when they go out to the lobby, Parker stops Charlie and says, can we talk privately? And Nova's right there with like, anything you got to say to her, bitch, whore, you can say to me too, because ain't nothing we need to keep from each other. So Charlie says, nah, we ain't got nothing to talk about. We don't have nothing to agree upon. Mm-mm. And so they kind of like part ways then, and they go on from there. But I saw Nova's mind churning and moving, and she knows sometimes, especially in that situation, Charlie saw that Nova was a little too rah-rah, gung-ho, too emotional with Parker. And Charlie, being, the negotiator, the businesswoman, the one who sits at these tables, a lot of times knows, yes, sometimes I'm going to have to do it without you, Nova. And I saw those wheels turning in her head, but she didn't want to do that in front of Nova. We then see Hollywood, Ralph Angel, and Prosper. They're at the spot that Hollywood has for this little clubhouse place that he wants to have for the guys in town. And they're, painting the walls and getting the spot together. And they, it was just a bonding moment that we saw for the guys. And, they often give us these bonding moments with these generations of black men on this show, which I think is so important. I love how this show often highlights black men and the generations of black men and how there are fruitful, meaningful relationships between different generations of black men here. Nova is at home with White Boy Cop, who y'all know I don't see it for, who I don't like. Obviously, at this point, she don't see it for him in this scene either, because he done got on her last damn nerve over here eating food off of the pillow that you got to sleep on. What kind of nasty white people shit is that? These are the same white people who wash their bodies and take baths without a washcloth, just straight bar of soap on their skin. Nasty ass white people who also eat plates of food off of the same pillow that they gotta sleep and rest their head on. Just nasty as fuck. Anyway, we did see Ralph A. So he's getting on her nerves. So this is going to come to a head at some point. I don't know how long they're going to be able to cohabitate, but we'll see. Nova and White Boy Cop. Ralph Angel, Darla, and Blue. I think that, well, let me go back to Nova and White Boy Cop. I think they moved in way too early. Y'all are way too early in this to be moving in together, but we'll get there later in the season. I'm sure. Ralph Angel, Darla, and Blue are at home having dinner, and Blue says, Dad, Pop, you never say grace. Can you say grace for us? Because I know you say you had a good day today, and can you say grace? So he says grace, and I noted in that grace he said he called Darla the love of his life, and I love that we're at the point where everything with Ralph Angel and Darla and Blue doesn't have to be gloom and doom. At least we had one episode with Darla and Ralph Angel where they could just be happy and breathe and enjoy each other and it not be anything bad. I loved that. We did see Charlie. She actually does have a one-on-one meeting with Parker. Loved all of the innuendos here. Loved all of the reaches that they had at things in the past. They started off with the Booker T. Washington versus W.E.B. Du Bois comment where Parker says, oh, so you just trying to be like Booker T. Washington and keep these people stuck in the past, trying to live on farms. And she was like, so Charlie's like, and who are you, W.E.B. Du Bois? And what I noted here is the thing that you love about them introducing Parker's character. Parker can meet Charlie letter for letter. PWI versus PWI. Ivy League versus Ivy League. Mixed black woman versus mixed black woman. Fair-skinned, high yellow, poised, well-spoken, and credential holding versus the same. They are one and the same. Both of them are fighters. Both of them have everything, all that in common. And I am so looking forward to the fight because what I wrote down in this conversation was both of them check all of the same boxes. Both of them are here for the fight and want the fight. And I'm here for all of the fight. Oh, it's going to be an epic battle. Epic battle. Side note, and this is for all my fashionistas out there and people who are into fashion. Did y'all see these sickening dresses these whores had on? These whores were dressed down. That red dress with that collar that Amira Van had on, and that brown beige dress with the whole thing in the middle that Dawn what's her name, Leon or whatever her name is, had on. Sickening. Loved it. We then see Micah at school. He's studying. His lion brother comes and interrupts his studies and say, listen, we gotta go. These are the perils of pledging. You can have whatever you want to have planned. When the bros say, meet me at such and such at such and such time, it's time to shut everything down and meet at such and such time. And that's what happened here. He all mad, broke down, busted and disgusted, but that's how pledging is. Your life is not your own. Your life belongs to the bros. Been there, did that, done that, got the shirt to show for it. Anyway, we then see Nova at home with White Boy Cop, and they talk, and they try to, get past some of their differences and stuff like that. She talks to him about, some of how he behaved a little bit at the launch party, him sometimes trying too much, sometimes with her friends and her family. And she talks about hopefully meeting his family and going to his grandfather's 85th birthday celebration. And he comes out and say, listen, my family ain't the nicest people in the world. I don't know if you want to, go there. We'll see. But my family is real white people. Real white. She was telling her, listen, these are white people. These ain't they ain't like me. So, yeah, he kind of warned her. Now, he was like, listen, my family ain't into this whole jungle fever type situation, and we ain't into it. Next, we see Micah in this, and with the fraternity, they're having the whole ritual ceremony where he crosses the burning sands and becomes a full-fledged member of the fraternity. My question, it's called Nu Zeta Gamma. My question was, is there going to be a probate? And does Charlie know, or the rest of the family knows? Most times your family does not know. I remember my family did not know until it was time for probate, and I said, yeah, y'all need to come to this at on such and such date. And you don't tell your family, you don't tell your friends, you don't tell anybody that you're pledging. And so you know how Charlie tries to be controlling. I can see her getting upset about this. Then we're at this feast of St. Josephine. And Charlie has this beautiful speech that she gives about the black woman, St. Josephine, and her being the first black city councilwoman for that parish, so forth and so on. Then they go to this little banquet dinner thing. And so Bank of St. Josephine is the primary sponsor. And so Parker gets up there to talk because she done just been elected to the board of the bank. And I'm sure she told him, nah, boo, let me go talk to them. Let me go holler at my people. Baby, she went up there and turned it. Parker announces, oh no, we're not going to send the highway through your farms anymore. No, we understand. And we are so cognizant of how horrible that must be. So we have outlined a new route. And I noted that she made particular attention to say, we're going to make sure it doesn't go through the border lawn farm and some of the other farms. You notice how she's separating the border lawn farm from the other black farms. They always seem to separate that farm but lump all of the other black farms together as if they are better, as if they're not a part of the other black farms. And so Parker then says, we're going to go down, I think, Main Street and 21st Road or something like that, which sends it right through the cemetery, obviously the cemetery where most of the black people were allowed to be buried. And she says, you can thank Councilwoman Borderlawn for this and her wonderful efforts. Drops the mic and walks the fuck off. And she dropped the mic in the just to let Charlie say, oh, you wanted to fight? Game on, bitch. And turned it and walked out. Didn't even wait for a response. And baby, the people started to realize, wait a minute, that's going right between the cemetery. Started an uproar. The people were not here for it. And they was coming at Charlie saying, oh, you approve this, you letting this go through. And they want to let her talk. And Aunt Vi and Rod tried to get involved, but the people was not here for it. The people was like, we ain't trying to hear you. We ain't trying to hear nothing. Y'all trying to sell us? Because obviously y'all trying to have them dig up our loved ones and dig up these graves. So Charlie is in a bit of a pickle because she's been put in a rock and a hard place. So you see her go to her office and she's kind of like having a moment. Aunt Vi comes in after her. She says, are you okay? She says, no, but I will be. And I'm not going to lose. And I'm sure Parker thinks the same thing. I'm not going to lose either whore. And I'm here for this fight. This is going to be an epic battle all season long. Two great actresses, two great characters, a matching of wits and wills. May the best woman win. I'm here for it. This is going to be so great. Such a great battle, I can see. Because the things that Charlie could get away with, flexing with the rest of the Boudreaux, she can't do that with Parker. I'm here for all of it. So then we see Ralph and Darla. They're out walking on the waterfront or whatever. Ralph Angel proposes to Darla and has this beautiful speech about, her love is his superpower and this, that, and the third. It was real nice, touchy-feely, tears and this, that, and the third. I made note that he made sure, will you make me the privilege to be my wife and taking my last name, just so you're clear. Don't think we having this old progressive ass, you keep your last name shit. No, bitch, you taking my last name. And of course she accepted. Hell, I accepted for her because I had got wet and weak in the knees just watching Ralph Angel on his knees propose. It was a moment. And it went off from there. Great season opener, great first episode, great exposition to what is about to be a phenomenal storytelling that we're about to get this season. I can already see some of the things that they're setting up, and I know that there's going to be more things set up. I am so intrigued with this show. It's so great, so good. As y'all can tell, I'm back in my groove. I'm back in the swing of things. I'm getting my, legs back up underneath me with the shows that I love. I ain't got to, stick to these raggedy reality shows. I can get shows like this. And it's going to get better and better. Y'all know how I get. I got to get back in the groove, get back in the pocket of doing my shows. But I'm right here for y'all. I'm right here. Let's get in the comment section, y'all. Let's do what we do. Let's talk about what you saw. Talk about some of my commentary and, good, and all of that stuff about what we see. Until next time, until next week, that's all I got for y'all. Thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. I'm out.